What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today, it's raining. It's been raining all day. You can see my neighbor's pond. It's overflowing. You can hear the geese out there. They're taking off. Anyway, guys, today I wanted to go over what I have spent on the Tahoe. And so I have a list here of what I have spent, every dollar I've spent on this Tahoe. And I did this on the green truck, and it seems like you guys like that, so I figured why not do it on the Tahoe as well. And at the end of the video, we'll talk about why we're doing it right now and what the future plans are. So let's get started, guys. So the very first thing we did, obviously we bought this thing. Bought it from an older gentleman. The truck had been in California for a majority of its life, and so I knew it was going to be pretty rust free, and it is. And I paid $4,100 for this thing. So I know a lot of people out there think that that's too much, but man, I looked at these and it seemed like the going rate was anywhere from like $5,000 to $6,000, and that was with a higher mileage option. So looked like 230,000 miles was pretty much the norm on these things. I mean, they are older. This is a 2003 model, and I was looking at 2005s. It seemed like a majority of the ones that I found. I wanted a white one or a green one. I honestly wanted a green one to match my truck, but found this white one. The guy wanted $4,800. I think I talked him down to $4,100, and so that is what we paid for the truck. If you guys didn't know, I did talk about that in the very first video when I bought it, but if you didn't know, it's going to be included in the total here. So the very first thing we did to it was we put wheels on it. Now remember, these wheels came off of the truck, and I wanted to put some chrome wheels to match the bumpers on the truck. So I did buy these wheels used off Facebook Marketplace. I think they were $500 is what I paid for them. Now they did have tires, but the tires were junk and they were too big, so even if they were good, I couldn't have used them. So I paid $500 for the tires, the wheels. The tires, obviously we had to have something different since we were lowering it. I didn't want to go with the standard size 20. This tire size, guys, is 275 45 20. A lot of people have asked that as well. Those tires were $594, and that's for all four, mounted and balanced. So, you know, we've got over $1,000 just on wheels and tires. The next thing I did is I took the roof rack off, and that was relatively cheap. So I've done that several times. I think I paid about $10 for miscellaneous screws that fit up there. And so not a lot involved in that, but I liked the way it looked. It looked a lot better. We also tinted the windows around the same time. $250 is what my guy charged me to tint the windows. That's 5% over the factory 20 in the back two, 5% on the roll-ups, and then 35% on the entire front windshield. Yes, I know it is dark. Headlight housings. So just the housings themselves. Now I know I've went back and forth on whether I like them or not. They're pretty nice, honestly, guys. They've held up pretty well. As you can see, it's been pouring rain here. I don't have any moisture in them right now, which is a good sign. So I paid $74 shipped for those. I thought that was a relatively good deal. Now on to the bulbs. So I replaced every bulb on the front. So I put LEDs in the brights, the dims. I put LEDs in the fog lights, and then I did put LEDs in the driving lights, and then just regular bulbs in the turning, like the turn lamps on the side. All those bulbs were $144. That's for the LEDs and the regular bulbs in the front. So I didn't think that was too bad either. After that, we did the 6 high mod, and what that does is it allows you to keep the fog lights on with the brights and the brights and the dims at the same time. So 6 lights are on in the front of this. Now, guys, I don't know if that's legal or not. I don't use them in traffic, so I didn't think it was a big deal. Anyway, so that was only $20 for that. That whole deal was $20, and it just dropped right in. That was a relatively recent video, so you guys could check that out. On to the back. I'm trying to stay on the outside for right now. We put the tail lights in. I ordered those. Those were $94 shipped, and I think they look a lot better. They definitely are better than the cracked housings that I had that were all faded. That is for sure. I did put reverse lights in it, so this comes pre-lit. Obviously it's LED that's all part of the light itself, but I did buy reverse lights and LEDs, and those were $20. Puddle lights, those are the lights on the bottom of the mirror. So that came in like a 5-pack, so I've used those in a couple different things. Those little lights that light up at nighttime when you're getting in the car. Those were relatively cheap. They were $9, and that was for 5 of them. So, and I only used 2, obviously, so I had 3 extras. Backup camera, that's relatively new as well. I keep going front to back. The backup camera that we put in the license plate frame, that was cheap, guys. $28 for that. And honestly, it's been great. I think it's probably one of my favorite cameras as far as quality goes that I've ever used on one of these cars. It's way better than my wife's CTSV, which, as you can see, we are messing with right now. But and nothing performance related, guys, just cleaning. Anyway, like I said, I was pretty impressed with that. License plate lights, that's the two little lights on the outer side, those LEDs. Those were 25 bucks, and they're crazy bright, guys. They are almost too bright and lights up the whole back of the car at night. So I think that covers a majority of the outside other than the drop, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. I'm gonna have to clean my lens off because it is still spitting rain, and I know you guys are probably getting a blurred shot. So next we will talk about the drop. We are back with the clean lens. All right, so the drop, that's pretty been a pretty big question that a lot of people have had. How much did you spend on it? And I'm gonna break it down in piece by piece. So we'll start in the front. So the drop keys, obviously, that go on the torsion bars, those were $107, and those allow you to crank the torsion bars. It basically indexes that a little bit more so you can get more drop out of the front. 107 bucks for those. Spindles, that brought the front down 2 inches, so that's the only two parts in the front as far as the drop is concerned. The spindles were $251. The front bump stops, so we did put some shorter bump stops up there. Those were $28. And the upper A-arms. So guys, when you lower these things, they have a ton of negative camber. And so I like to, anytime I drop one of these, I did it on my truck as well, I like to use those offset A-arms from Moog. And guys, I will list all this stuff down in the description again, but those were 180 bucks, and that is for both sides. Now that, like I said, it gives you an additional 2 degrees of camber adjustment on the positive side, so you can bring those wheels back up to square. And I will tell you guys that if without that, there is no way this thing would have gotten to alignment at all. So they were on the borderline with them. So if you didn't have them, chances are you're not going to get it into spec as far as alignment goes. On to the back, the rear springs. So how we got the back down with springs, and those springs were from Beltec. They were $105.98. And then within those springs, I do have a helper bag set up, and then that is right here as far as to put air in them. Now, they are not like the truck ones. You actually need to put air in them before you put weight on it, and they only go up to about 25 pounds of pressure. So it doesn't lift as much as the truck does, but it still gives you enough to load the back up with stereo or put maybe a small trailer on. Those were only $90. I think they're worth it. Definitely look into some of those if you guys are going to drop this or drop one of these. The DJM hardware kit. Now, a lot of people ask me about this, guys. So they say, well, Beltec doesn't make one, so why do I need it? Honestly, you may not need it, but I like it because it realigns all of your angles in the rear end. So when you drop one of these things, the rear end wants to roll backwards. So this puts that back into spec. And to be quite honest with you, it realigns all those lower control arms. It also comes with your sway bar end links. I think it's worth it, guys. That's why I use it on all the SUVs that I drop. That thing was $196. I definitely recommend that if you're dropping one of these more than 3 inches. Okay, so I know a lot of people have asked about that, and no, Beltec does not make one. I don't know why. Maybe they don't think it's important, but the other thing is I have never had any driveline vibrations like some have experienced, so that could be part of why I haven't experienced that. Shock relocation, those were $65. That moves your shock, and it not only moves your shock if you are maybe wanting to run a factory shock, but it also brings that back into the proper angle, guys, because as it gets closer together, the angle is not right. It's more here than it is this. So you definitely want to do that if you're going 4 inches or more. Rear shocks were $105. Those are Beltec Street Performance. I only like the Street Performance. I do not like the Nitro drop. A couple people have asked about that as well. I still am running the stock shocks in the front because a majority of my drop came from the spindle, so not a lot of movement there. I only got about an inch maybe out of, I mean, I could get more out of the torsion bars, but I didn't see the need, and it rides great with the factory shock. So if you were going to put ones in the front, I would also recommend the Beltec Street Performance shocks. I always run those, guys. I know I'm a McGaughy's fan when it comes to trucks, but when it comes to shocks, I don't like McGaughy's shocks. I think they're a little soft, and these handle really good, so that's why I choose those. The rear bump stops is the only thing we have left on the lower end kit, and those were 28 bucks. Very similar to the ones that are in the front. They just bolt on. In fact, I think they're identical as far as the way they bolt on. That's all of it. That's all the drop. So I won't add all that up. I'm going to add it all up at the end. And look, guys, here comes the Denali that I dropped driving by right now. We're just a bunch of neighbors with lowered SUVs. Anyway, so we'll move on to the interior. And it's probably dirty right now. I know I need a new floor mat, that's for sure. So the interior. I didn't do a whole lot here, guys. So the very first thing I did was I got the seat fixed. It bugged me. The guy that I bought it from had tape on it. It was ripped here and up here. And I paid my upholstery guy, which is also the guy who owns the upholstery shop, is my guy with the pond over here. And that's who I had do it. 200 bucks is what I paid to have this done. And he did a great job. It looks way better. And I don't have tape sticking to me when I crawl out. The interior LEDs, so all like the ones we just installed, the LEDs and the lights and the roof, all throughout the truck, those were pretty cheap. So 20 bucks for the set, and then it didn't come with the glove box one, and then I bought a couple other randoms. I don't even remember, guys, but that was about 40 bucks. It was just 20 for that kit, and then the few that it didn't have, I spent another about 20 bucks on to put those in. So 40 bucks for interior lights. The radio itself, you guys know I pulled that out of the Buick over there, and I think I paid like 250 bucks. I put it down as $200 because that's about what you can buy a decent Bluetooth radio for. They're not expensive by any means nowadays. I just buy one that has Bluetooth. I tend to go Pioneer, but I bought this one a long time ago, guys. So I do like Pioneer better. So if you want to know that. The install kit, so the little surround piece that goes around it, I also got that out of the Buick. And I did have the other fitted parts that you need, but those are only like $15. And then the last thing is the harness. Obviously, when you have OnStar like we have, and you have Bose, you have to have a harness unless you want to hack a bunch of stuff, and I didn't want to do that. Just that was 78 bucks. Now I will tell you that Amazon, guys, is the absolute cheapest place to buy that. If you buy one of those from a stereo shop, they're about $190. So definitely look for those on Amazon. I chose to go with the RP4, which the RP4 deletes OnStar. On this old of a vehicle, this isn't a digital signal anyway. There would have to be a ton of stuff upgraded if you wanted to keep OnStar. And so I chose to bypass OnStar. It's a little cheaper that way. If you want to keep OnStar, there's an option to keep that as well. I just didn't see the need for it. So that's it, guys. That is all I've done to this thing. I know it seems like we've done a lot, and we have. It looks completely different than what it did when I first bought it, that's for sure. And I'll post a couple pictures here at the end of the video of when I bought it to what it looks like now, and it has changed drastically. But so the total in mods that I've spent on this, and that's everything, so inside, outside, wheels, tires, $3,483.18. And I'm not including the one thing when I'm walking around here doing this video, I did put new wiper arms and wiper blades on it, so that's probably another 40 or 50 bucks right there that I didn't put on this total. That's just how it goes. I couldn't find a receipt for that. I keep my receipts for everything, but for some reason that one wasn't in the group. So the total invested in this thing, you ready for this? $7,583.18 is where we're at. So is it worth it? I don't know. You know, I think it looks a lot better. I can't leave anything alone, guys. So I told you I bought this thing to drive in the winter, right? So we have the Buick, we have the Tahoe. I didn't want to drive my truck in the winter because I didn't want to get salt on it, and obviously we didn't want to drive, well, the CTSV is relatively new, but I didn't want to drive my wife's SS. Oh yes, we still have that, by the way. She's in it right now, but we didn't want to drive that stuff in the wintertime. So I always like to have what I call a winter beater. It just so happens that I can't leave anything alone, so the winter beater turns into a project, and it's been a popular project. You guys love the thing, and to be quite honest with you, would I do another one? Probably. But why am I giving you this video now? It's sold. Yes, I know I've made a lot of people, I'm going to make a lot of people mad here, but I've sold it. Guys, winter is almost over. In fact, I'm going to be mowing soon. You can see my grass is starting to grow and green up, and I really have no use for a four-wheel drive Tahoe. Now, will I replace it? Probably at some point. I might get something different, but yes, I have sold it. A buddy of mine mentioned it to a friend of his. They came out and looked at it a couple days ago, and I wanted to give you guys a total before it was gone, kind of walk you around the thing for one last time. But yes, it is sold, so you guys could say goodbye. Like I said, I know it's going to upset a lot of people. There's been a lot of people that have really liked this thing, but I will tell you guys this: if I had to do it again on this body style, I'm not a huge fan of torsion bar front setups, so I probably wouldn't buy another torsion bar car, just because they unload sometimes when you go over a dip and they make noise, and I don't like them. I don't like torsion bar setups. So if I did buy another one, I'd probably go with the newer body style. But if I had to get another one of these, I probably wouldn't buy a Z71. And I don't know, when I first wanted one of these, I really thought that the roof rack and the sides, I kind of liked that. Even on a lowered one, I thought that'd be kind of cool to have a lowered one with that chunky roof rack in the bottom. And anyway, I probably wouldn't do that because this is annoying to me at this point. I really would like to clean that up and make it look nicer. Obviously, we're not going to since I've sold it, but I think that one without the fender flares and one without the side steps would look a little nicer and a little more sporty. Maybe some bigger wheels. You know, I've done this kind of on the cheap for the most part. The most expensive part was obviously the drop, but yeah, guys, I mean, I do like it, and it's been a great daily driver. I would say that as far as motor and transmissions are concerned, if you drive this thing like I do, like an old man, it's not fast, and so I don't drive it fast. I think it'd last for a very long time. I know these guys have been prone to have transmission issues, but I've not had any problems with mine whatsoever. The motor runs like a top. It's almost 200,000 miles now. It's like 199,830, so very, very close to 200,000 miles. But it's been an impressive car, guys. So I know, go down in the comments, roast me. I'm selling it. I know it's a lot. It brought a lot of you guys to the channel, and there will be something else, guys. So I'm not saying that I'm going to give up on Tahoes or I'm never going to have another one, because chances are I probably will. A lot of times in the wintertime, that's like one of my go-to vehicles because they run great and they're dependable and they're cheap to work on. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm bailing on you completely on the Tahoe stuff, but we've got more stuff coming on the truck. We got stuff coming on the CTSV, not performance related, but the Trans Am we're getting stuff for that, and I think the Buick's gonna sell. My wife's SS is gonna sell, so we're gonna have to replace some cars here, guys. That's the fun part, is buying. So if you did like this video, please smash that thumbs up button, guys. If you're not subscribed, go down, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell icon that we are notified every single time we drop a new video. And well, stay tuned to see what we buy or sell next.